From Mediaocean's perspective, when we talk about programmatic and automation, there's really two distinct, I think, buckets. The area that we focus on at Mediaocean is really looking at how do we make the whole process as efficient as possible. So programmatic can mean targeted towards audiences, getting data to help me target a specific audience and then finding where that audience is, maybe using an exchange. Then there's the overall processing of how do I actually make that process as simple, as easy, and as auditable as I can for those particular buyers. So our focus really is how do I link buyer and seller together electronically, reduce the friction, making sure that I know exactly what I'm getting, both parties agree on the performance metrics, and finally that it gets billed and paid as efficiently as possible. You know, so often the buyers purchase something, they're buying video, and they only realize exactly which sites it's run on at the, you know, when they get the invoice, and then it's, oh, you know, we've run on the wrong run on the wrong networks here, we really should have been on these shows and that sort of thing. I think from, you know, if you're a major network, one of the challenges we're seeing there is, you know, I've got my premium content, and I want to make sure I get as much money as I can in the upfronts, and some of them are a little bit concerned with programmatic potentially eroding away at that. Then you have, some of those networks also have video content that they also want to be able to sell to the traditional buyers or the digital buyers. Then at agencies, there are digital buyers that are starting to look at, well, you know, I've got digital video, should it be managed by the video group, should it be managed by the digital group? So it's a really exciting time. With that, there are obviously challenges because you've got to make sure the right creative runs, you've got to make sure you get invoiced and it gets paid correctly. And again, that's something that Mediaocean, we're really focused, you know, towards, regardless of how the buyer wants to buy it, whether it's a digital buyer buying from a network, a TV buyer buying digital video inventory, we're working to really, you know, make that transaction as seamless as possible end to end. I think programmatic is a real opportunity for everybody to win. The seller, the buyer, the consumer who's seeing the commercials. I mean, I often think of, you know, when I see a particular ad, say on Facebook, that's really targeted towards me, I like the fact that that's happened programmatically, that based on my history, the ad I'm seeing is something I'm going to be interested in rather than probably, you know, 70% of the ads I see on billboards, on TV or whatever are not necessarily applicable to me. So programmatic offers, you know, huge promise, but the challenges are really around, you know, how do I plan for it? How do, you know, what systems do I use to actually make that, you know, actually happen? What data do I use? Each brand might have different data sets that they want to use to actually target a specific show, target a specific audience within, you know, shows. And I would say the technology is not there yet for true end-to-end automation of the overall process. So yes, you know, when I'm buying TV, I'm limited to certain audiences. There is going to be a shift to be able to say, I don't need to use just my Nielsen audiences. I can target, you know, car shoppers or mortgage buyers on, you know, using set-top box data, using rent track, things of that nature. But it's not there yet. I would say, you know, next 1 to 2 years, there is a huge opportunity to get programmatic, definitely, you know, a bigger component of the overall media budget. But you know, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. So having a single platform to manage the overall process, you know, I would actually say, you know, Mediaocean's perspective is yes, we want to be the agency platform that enables, you know, all of these processes to take place, but it's not in a vacuum. We know there are sales systems, there's data companies, there's technology companies, there are content providers, and there's finance systems. And our role is really to say, you know, we want to plug in and be completely agnostic to say to an agency, you can use whichever data source you want, whatever content you want to be able to pull in, work with whichever partner, but enable via API, via integration, enable that true end-to-end so that I can plan, buy, optimize, report, bill, pay, all in one, you know, using, you know, a number of platforms, but are all being seamlessly tied together. And that's, again, you know, our goal, forming Mediaocean as we did 2 years ago, was to really tackle that and say, look, there's 1,000 ad tech companies out there. There's all these data companies, there's all these content providers. There's so many ways that an agency can invest money on behalf of a brand, but putting it all together is challenging. There's still paper invoices, you know, trafficking, getting the commercial to the TV network or to the, you know, to the digital publisher, you know, is still labor intensive. So if we can help reduce those costs, link it together, make sure the data flows from whichever systems an agency wants to use, then that's really what's going to lead the charge to get programmatic and truly efficient buying going forward.